War is the health of the state. So wrote the American journalist Randolph Bourne in 1918. A very specific war had prompted Bourne's observation. The conflict then called the Great War, more commonly known today as World War I. Bourne had opposed U.S. entry into that war in 1917. He predicted that government authorities would use war as a pretext for suppressing dissent and trampling on civil liberties. His prediction proved sadly accurate. At the urging of President Woodrow Wilson, Congress passed the Espionage and Sedition Acts, which effectively declared opposition to the war illegal. Disloyal, profane, scurrilous, or abusive language about the form of government of the United States, or the flag of the United States, or the uniform of the Army or Navy, all these were now punishable by fines or imprisonment. So something as inane as, "Hey, sailor, that's a stupid-looking hat you're wearing," could land you behind bars. Abuses ensued on a massive scale. The legislation provided government with a mechanism to silence its critics, all in the name of defending democratic ideals. So, for example, Eugene Debs, a pacifist and three-time Socialist Party candidate for president, received a 10-year sentence to federal prison for daring to speak against the war. In some respects, the government-orchestrated crackdown verged on the comic. For example, U.S. officials seized a film called Spirit of '76 that was intended to be an ode to the American Revolution. But in addition to the inspiring scenes shown here, the movie depicted redcoats raping, pillaging, and otherwise making life difficult for freedom-loving patriots. The problem with this movie? In the eyes of the Wilson administration, it cast aspersions on America's newly acquired British ally, and thereby undermined the war effort against Germany. So the government not only confiscated the film, but it also charged the film's producer with insubordination and disloyalty. He, too, received a 10-year prison sentence. And so it went. The Postmaster General denied mailing privileges to magazines and newspapers deemed insufficiently patriotic, in effect, shutting them down. Widely assumed to be disloyal, German Americans were subjected to widespread harassment, their mistreatment either abetted or ignored by government authorities. War against Germany also provided a handy excuse for crushing radical organizations such as the Industrial Workers of the World, or Wobblies. This wartime insistence on conformity seeped into the period immediately following the war, finding expression in the Red Scare. Convinced that radicals of various stripes threatened the existing political order, the Justice Department launched a campaign to root out and destroy them. Widespread violations of civil liberties resulted. By then, Bourne himself was dead, but he would not have been surprised. World War II offered a variation on this theme. In the immediate wake of Pearl Harbor, Franklin Roosevelt ordered the War Department to evacuate 110,000 Japanese Americans from the West Coast and to confine them in concentration camps. Many of those detained were American citizens, but all were assumed to be disloyal. Notably, the Supreme Court affirmed this massive violation of due process. Again, claims of military necessity had enabled the state to expand and then to abuse its power. War was indeed the health of the state. In the wake of World War II came a second Red Scare. During the early years of the Cold War, fears of communism reached a fever pitch. One result was a witch hunt intended to purge from government, education, and the entertainment industry anyone tainted by radicalism, all this justified by the ostensible needs of national security. Other examples abound. The overall point is that war-induced panic does not create an environment conducive to clear thinking. Instead, repeatedly throughout U.S. history, it has induced herd-like deference to state authority. With concerns about security paramount, civil liberties get trampled, and the rule of law takes a beating.